I obsessively look inside the box. Like, I'm going to ask two questions throughout this weekend, and the answer to both is yes. So he said, does the movement look good? Yes. Can we make it better? Yes. Welcome to the Strength Connection Podcast, a show to share stories, insights, and experiences in strength, physically, mentally, and spiritually. I'm Michael Kurkowski, host of the Strength Connection, and I'm so grateful that you can join me today. So in these episodes, I connect with some of the most inspiring and successful individuals to chop it up and learn from true life experiences that have helped them become who they are, the strongest versions of themselves. One of the greatest ways I've always learned the most important lessons is through stories. We all have them, and they make us who we are. So let's dive in. Here we go. All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Strength Connection Podcast. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm your host, Michael Kurkowski, on this solo episode. Happy summer solstice. It is officially summer, and hopefully everything is going great in your world. All right, we're going to dive in here. So I'm really excited about what I want to share today because it's very near and dear to my heart, because it involves a lesson of strength from someone who is closer to me than probably anybody in the world, which is my sister. So I want to dive into some interesting stuff with you and some things I've been thinking about over this past week. So, but first off, before I get into that, I do want to recap the guest episode that I had launched this week, which was amazing. Really honored to connect with this man, Dr. Pat Davidson from New York City. Dr. Pat is one of the smartest, most articulate people when it comes to exercise science and really the physical side of strength. I got to chat with him a couple of years ago on the Breakthrough Secrets podcast when he came on, talked about his program of rethinking the big patterns. And I wanted to chat with him. My good friend Tyler connected us because I seen the work that they were doing with Athletic Weapon and the incredible results that they were getting from that. And I really just wanted to pick his brain. And before I talked with Pat, I went over a lot of the interviews that he's done, a lot of the work. And, you know, he's one of those people that some push back on, think that he's a skeptic on a lot of things. And I wanted to ask him about that. Like, do you go into things kind of with a skeptical viewpoint? Like, how do you process, some things that a lot of people have been, using for a while that are seeing really great results and kind of challenging, those norms, which anytime you challenge something that's been a staple of an industry for a while, you're going to get pushback from people. So I asked him about that, and he had a really interesting line, and it was, I don't think outside the box. He said, a lot of people think I'm an outside the box thinker. He's like, no, what I do is I obsessively look inside the box. And I thought that was a beautiful way to describe what he's doing. Essentially, what he was saying is, I'm not just okay with things being good the way they are. I want to always look at, is there a possibility for things to get better? Even things that we've known for a long time to have worked. Is there a way that they can improve? They can get better? And it really resonated with me. I thought a lot about it afterwards. And one of the quotes that I remembered from a mentor and coach of mine, Fabio Zonin, who I got to learn from a year ago, he had a great line when he taught the SFL barbell certification, which he said, he's like, I'm going to ask two questions throughout this weekend, and the answer to both is yes. So he said, does the movement look good? Yes. Can we make it better? Yes. And it was a great thing that he did because, we were all instructors there. Everybody moves overall very well. So it wasn't something that we were saying, no, you're doing it wrong or you're doing it right. He's saying, no, everything is good. But can we make it better? Yes, absolutely. And it reminded me of that quote that you probably heard a million different times is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I never like this. I think it's bullshit because just as people, we're designed to grow. We're designed to evolve. So, I used the analogy earlier this week talking with my community that if we just held to that belief, then the cars of the 1910s would still be what we were driving today. It's like, no, we learned new things. We learned engines, we learned combustion, we learned all that stuff. We learned electric cars. I mean, all these different things in just one industry right there. It's not something that as soon as it's good and it works in some sense, then we're just done. We continuously grow, we continuously evolve. And that's one of the great things about talking with Dr. Pat in this episode is he broke down a lot of his programs of this is how his thought process works. And it was just a really blast of a conversation, really so many great nuggets. And I'm hoping I can have him come back on the podcast after he's doing a few things here, with his programs to get some more feedback, from him. So it was a blast. So if you haven't listened to that one, go check that one out. It was an absolute great time. Okay. So moving forward, I thought a lot about this week is a lot of the information that when I was putting together my Secrets of the Snatch Kettlebell Mastery Seminar, which is out now. And one of the things I really made sure that I wanted to harp on is I'm not presenting information in the seminar that you've maybe never heard before. I sit on the shoulders of giants is the best phrase that I could use. Is I've learned so much from other people, and if I can curate it and get the information out in a way that is personal to me and it can help you, then I think that that's something that I want to do. And I think that's part of my purpose of doing the work that I do. And from that, I was looking at a lot of different lessons of strength that I've learned over my life, not just from coaches and mentors, but everybody that I've encountered. And one of the greatest lessons of strength, just in general, has come from my sister. So I want to give you just a little story and a little backstory on this. So I grew up with, it was me, my parents, and my sister. So it was the two of us. She's 2.5 years older than me. And she, for lack of a better term now, she's my best friend. I absolutely love her to death. We are so close. I feel very blessed, very privileged that I have such a close relationship with my sister. And growing up, she's the most competitive person I've ever met in my entire life. I could tell you stories and stories of us playing different sports, and I'll leave those for another time. But she would get so pissed off if I beat her at anything. She just was upset if anybody beat her at anything. She was so competitive. She always wanted to be, the best and do her best. That's why she was an amazing athlete. She was player of the year in college for softball. She was the captain of her team in high school, college, so on and so forth. She excelled in numerous different things and graduated with, a double major in college from education, secondary education. I forget, I'm butchering the other one right now, but she has always been just that ultra competitive person that I know. Now, a lot of other people know how caring that she is as well. And that's why she is an amazing teacher. She's been a teacher for almost 20 years in special education. And just every single person that works with her or students that have her absolutely love her. It's no secret of that. She absolutely excels at that job. But another thing that she was always passionate about was music. She absolutely loved music. Growing up, she had, 1.5 billion CDs. I remember when I was moving back from Florida, coming back to New York, and I was driving the whole way by myself. And I remember the best gift that I got was a day before I left, my sister burned me. I remember burning CDs. She burned me like 15 CDs. And it was the best gift ever because every time I was just putting it into my CD player, this is back in like 2006, it was a new mix and just every song flowed from one thing to another. And I remember that trek up up 95 north that whole way because I just got to listen to all this music that my sister gave to me. And it was a blast. She was always a huge music person. So one time she said she was really curious about DJing and she got a job with a company, just started kind of learning the business a bit. And then she wanted to go out on her own and start her own business. And I remember this really vividly. She called me up and she was kind of asking like, hey, what do you think of this? Like, I'm thinking of leaving this company and starting my own DJ business. And to be honest, in my own mind and where my head was at, and I was very close-minded, I'm like, I don't think it's a good idea. Because I was so under the impression of you need to serve one master. It's like she was a full-time teacher. That's your main job. Like to have a second position on the side, like it's going to just split your time so much. You can get burned out. It's like, I don't think it's a great idea. But at the end, I was like, do what you feel is best. She's still my sister. I want her to do what she feels is best. But in my head, I was like, I don't know. I was manager of a club at a time. And that was my 80 hours a week. I wasn't doing anything else. So I couldn't even imagine doing something else in my own life. So I think I kind of brought my own bias into that. But sure enough, she started her own business and started working it step by step. And she gave so much of her time at the beginning of opening this business. I remember she DJ'd free events at my gym that I was managing, probably over a dozen times over a couple years. I mean, devoted, just gave her time so freely to me, just wanting to put herself out there, just to play music for people, just to, enhance the experience of what she was doing. And then she started to slowly grow her business a little bit at a time. And all of a sudden, she built this incredible powerhouse of a business with a full staff while maintaining her full-time teaching job, never losing an ounce of passion in that. And after seeing her build this business, I was like, oh my God, this is unbelievable. And in my head still, I'm like, how do you mix both of these energies in one life? Like you have all your time and energy into teaching and then all your time into DJing on the weekends and all these events and stuff like that. Like, that's crazy. And it was an awesome thing to see. But one thing that struck me so vividly was a time last year. She was doing a like wedding event. It was like a bridal show at a place very close to my home. And she just texted and she called me and she's like, "Hey, if you want to stop by, come check it out and say hi." I was like, "Oh, cool." Like, we don't see each other as often as we like. So I stopped by and just saw her just connect with people. And, she has other people that she can have do these things, but she wanted to go and do this herself. And I just watched her speak with everybody that came up to her, future brides, future, grooms, couples, in-laws, moms of brides, all this stuff. And she was so genuinely excited for the people that she was talking to, like about when their date was, about who they were, like what are they seeing here, like what's the stressful things. Just so excited to talk to people. There wasn't any selling involved at all. Like, she wasn't trying to book them for another time and just grow the business, as so many things you hear is like you have to aggressively sell all the time. She was just such a presence of genuine energy and excitement for other people. And you can see just the passion that she had for what she was doing. It was unbelievable to watch. And I just sat back and was just like, wow. And I knew she worked a full week of teaching, and it could just be like, all right, I need to do this. I need to just get some new leads and stuff like that. No, she was so energized to just talk to other people and give everything that she had to them. And you could just see the other people talking to her felt almost such a relief. You felt like their guard went down, because there's probably a lot of other people there who were just trying to book them, for their event and just get new business, where she didn't. And I realized that one of the most powerful phrases that is searched all the time is, how do I become more successful? And a better way to ask that is, how do I help others be the most successful? And, I heard this from some really great people I admire. Jason Phillips put this out all the time in his work. And I saw this so much from my sister. And this is such a level of strength that everybody, I think, can take a golden nugget from. Is it's not about how do you become the most successful, is we are all in service to ourselves and to others. It's how can you be the best of service to everything around you? And it starts with yourself. I think self-care is the most important thing, and treat yourself as someone who's your best friend. Like, how would you talk to your best friend? You want to bring the best out of them. But after that, you create that filling of your own cup. Then it just spreads out abundantly into everything else. And this was something that was on my mind a lot this week, and I wanted to share. It's not something I've talked about as often as maybe I should and what I'd like to. But, she's my sister's been one of the greatest influences in me in strength. And I wanted to share that with you, and hopefully you can take a golden nugget out of that. And if there's any great thing you can learn from how do you become the most successful, is how do I bring the best out of other people around me? And if you do that, then I think you're going to land where you need to be. So appreciate you listening. Sincerely, so grateful to you for all your support with this podcast and continuing to tune in and check out new guests, listen to me speak. And I hope it's been a great value to you, and I hope it continues to be. So thank you so much. Much love to you, and talk to you guys on the next one. All right, peace. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you found some great value here. And if you like this episode, please drop a comment and leave us a 5-star rating and review. It does more to build the show than you can imagine. And do not forget to check out and join the Strength Connection Facebook group. In this group, I share the biggest takeaways and lessons from these amazing conversations, as well as training and strength tips for pursuing mastery and fulfillment in life. This group is filled with individuals looking to take full control over their strength, and it's the perfect space to explore new ideas and to share your journey. And you'll also get exclusive access to these Strength Connection Mastery Seminars. It's a deep dive into the physical, mental, and spiritual training that you can begin using immediately. So do not wait, go now. Seriously, go. All right, much love to you. Thank you so much, and I'll catch you on the next one.